Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Spirits channel. I'm Paul James Caden. In this video, I'm going to be doing a follow-up for the session for Paul Faircloth Ghost Box Medium. I want to address the viewers of my channel first and then talk to Paul directly about a couple of things before the session. So, for my viewers, some of you saw the first session I did, the session for Paul Faircloth, and you were a little bit confused on, what that was. So allow me to explain and fill in the gaps for those of you who weren't really sure what that was all about. Paul Faircloth is a fellow ITC researcher. He lives in the UK, and I've been watching his channel for about a year now. And I've talked to him, in the comments. We formed a bit of a friendship online here through YouTube. And I was listening. I was actually just playing around last week. I think it was Thursday, was it? And I was playing with running my apps through the Bluetooth radios that I have, so I can use them as kind of like a portal device. And I wasn't really asking any questions. I was just experimenting with the sound. How do the apps sound going through the radios? And I had the Spiritus app open, and I was just playing with the volume and the sound, and suddenly it said Barlow, and it said this twice. Barlow is one of Paul Faircloth's spirit guides. And then immediately after it said Barlow twice, it said Faircloth. So naturally this caught my attention, so I asked, is Paul Faircloth all right? And it said, he's with Jesus. And I said, oh wow, I hope something didn't happen to Paul. So I tried to inquire of what all this meant while I had the app open. And strangely, the Spiritus app just crashed after that. I tried for about 15 minutes to get it going, and I just had no luck. It works fine now. It worked fine afterwards. But after that whole incident, and I was trying to probe deeper into what all this meant, the app just went down, and I couldn't get it restarted for anything. So I eventually went to the Deadwave app and conducted a session for Paul Faircloth. And it appears that through that session that there have been some kind of negative energy or entity that has attached itself or trying to attach itself to Paul. Other ITC researchers who are friends with Paul have picked up similar things. Paul himself said he had a feeling something was going to happen, something didn't feel right. So this kind of confirmed some things that he was feeling. So, we've been working behind the scenes to, help eliminate this thing and, get it out of his life. And from what I understand, things have been better. They feel more clear and more light on my end. I've been doing clearing. I've done energy work since 1994, I believe it was. And I also do pendulum work, and I work with the dowsing rods. And I do energy work and clearing through the pendulum, through the rods. So I've been using my rods to do, distant healing, distant clearing for Paul, removing any negative energies and entities. And some other folks have been working behind the scenes as well as Paul. He's been doing this for a very long time. So, I feel like things have gotten better on his end. He can confirm this later, I suppose. But that's what was going on with Paul Faircloth. Pretty much a friend in need, and I'm glad I did that session. And now I'm doing a follow up for him with everything to see what other information I can glean about this energy or this entity that tried to attach itself to him. Now, just a quick word here. If you're interested in ITC work, if I can give Paul a plug here on my channel, I'm going to leave a link to his channel below. Um, he does great work. You know, he really goes back to the nuts and bolts of ITC research and experiments to capture EVPs and radio voices. And, you know, it's just phenomenal work because it's honest, it's back to the basics. It's not all these modern day frills with 1,001 amplifiers around him and knobs. He uses ghost boxes, radios, apps, much like myself, and you know, he gets some great results. So I would highly recommend and ask you to support his work if you like my channel, because he does phenomenal work over there. And he's also the guy, uh, if, or rather, since watching his channel since last year, actually by watching his videos gave me the kind of courage to start posting my own ITC work online. I've done ITC work for a lot of years, um, greater or lesser results in the beginning, but you know, really got that connection with spirit uh, over the years. And it was just pretty much for myself, and I have an interest in it. And I thought about sharing it with others, but I wasn't quite sure if that's what I wanted to do, or if people would be like, you know, whatever, it's fake, or you shouldn't do that. But through watching Paul's work, that really kind of bolstered me to say, you know what, I'm going to share my work as well. You know, so he really, through his work, encouraged me to do that. So thank you, Paul. Much appreciation. Much appreciation for you and the work you do on your channel. So all of that being said, let me address Paul directly here in this video. I did the follow-up session uh, to get a little more clarity about, you know, this situation that's been going on. And at first I thought it was perhaps someone who was doing some kind of hoodoo or Santeria against you. You know, this name Michael that kept coming up, the name Fred that keeps coming up. And I was in agreement with, you know, some other folks that I thought maybe this was somebody that maybe you didn't even know. They just came across your channel and just decided to throw negative energy your way because, you know, I've been doing this kind of work in spiritual counseling and readings for a lot of years, and I know these people that practice hoodoo and Santeria. Uh, I feel that the bad spirits get a hold of their thought process, and they have no filter, no conscience. They will curse a person for any or no reason at all. And I've known or heard stories of uh, spiritual readers who were Santeria practitioners and would purposely curse their clients to cause negativity in their lives to keep them coming back for readings and for all these materials that they would kind of sell them. So these are bad folks. And at first I thought this was what was happening with you. But in this follow-up session, you're going to hear about midway through, maybe a little past the midway, a woman's voice says very clearly, and she shouts, "Paul, it came from the house." And that was my initial thought in all of this, that something tried to attach to you through one of the houses that you worked in. Now, for my viewers, Paul does work, you know, construction work of some kind, and he works in a lot of old buildings, old houses, old churches. He goes to a lot of old historic places, sometimes old houses, and he lives in the UK, which is a country, and land with a lot of history and a lot of spirits, I'm sure. I was over there once in 2004 and saw a couple of things that were pretty bizarre, but exciting at the same time. So I feel this was something that connected with you, Paul, through one of the houses you were in. Um, the first session kept talking about the house, that one house, and now it comes up in this new session. It came from the house. Uh, I'm kind of getting the feeling now, and my thought on all this is that in one of the houses you worked in, it may be the one you were working in last week or the one before that, I don't know. But I feel there was a house where some pretty bad stuff went down, very likely some child abuse of some sort. And the people who lived there were into some kind of black magic, whether it be Santeria or just dark witchcraft or something. And the I don't know whether they cursed the house, or it just opened up a portal for bad energy. But I feel that when you went in this house, this thing just attached to you. And I think Michael is the person who did this black magic, and I think also Michael is following you around. And I think there's also someone named Fred, because that name comes up in your sessions and also in mine. And in the session you did after I posted my video about the warning, the name Fred come up, and you said Fred's my uncle. But then later you asked, if you go back and watch your video, you asked if there was someone you couldn't trust around you, and then immediately responded Fred or Freddie. So I don't think the Fred they're talking about in these sessions is your uncle. I think Michael and Freddie, and we're not talking Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger here. The names are kind of ironic, uh, but yeah, I think Fred and I think Michael are somehow connected. Their energy was in that house with whatever they conjured, and they just went after you when you done a session in one of these old houses. Um, that's my theory. That's what I'm kind of feeling, since all this is coming up about the houses, the house. And I've been doing pendulum work. I've been working with my rods to, confirm yes or no. Am I on the right track here? I'm getting a lot of positive, a lot of yes. So I think something came from one of the houses. I'm also feeling like all of us working behind the scenes are certainly helping, but there's something you need to do. I'm not sure what that is. Um, a situation you need to deal with in your life. Um, is it something as simple, but although it's not simple, that maybe protecting yourself a little better before doing a session, or closing the session? I know even for those of us who've done it for a long time, and I'll do this, I'll get excited about a session, and I'll break out all the equipment, and then I'll leave the cemetery, or close the session and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't do the protection before. I didn't close out the session and ask for any portals in the area or around me that were open during the session to be closed. Um, I left myself wide open, so I had to, go back and kind of redo. So I don't know if it's something like that, um, you know, closing out the portals around you and in the area when you're done with the session in these old buildings, uh, which I feel is important, because we can have all the ITC equipment in the world, but as you know, we are the greatest ITC uh, equipment. It's our connection, our intentions, with spirit that make that connection. And I've heard it said portals can open, in the area or the room where we're doing a session, but also around us. And so I've always learned to ask my guides, please close any portals that have opened in this room, in this area, and around me that may have opened during this session. Close those portals off. So maybe it's something like that. I don't know. But I feel like there's something you have to do on your end. Maybe you have to do some kind of just kind of like um, purging to get rid of this thing and then close out the portals around yourself, your own energy. Like I said, I'm not quite sure what that would be, but in doing the pendulum work and the work with the rods, it just keeps coming to me so strongly. There's something you have to do, and in your life to, really put this to rest. And maybe you've already done that over the weekend. I don't know, but I'm just sharing what I picked up, and hopefully that will be helpful. So thank everybody for watching this longer intro. Thank you, Paul, for everything that you do and for your work. It's definitely invaluable in the ITC community. And keep us updated, brother. After you see this, let us know how the weekend went, how everything went today, how you're feeling. I'm feeling like things are definitely lighter around you. You can confirm that, or confirm or deny, as they say, and maybe try to think what it is that you need to do to seal the deal and get rid of this thing. Because I feel we get rid of it, it goes away, but then they kind of like hang out on the sidelines, but then they'll come back. And that's something I'm getting through my rods. There's something that's hard, it's difficult to push away, you know, but it's not really away, it's away, but it's waiting to sneak back in, giving you kind of a false sense of security. So again, what is it on your end? Do you think maybe you have to do that's giving this thing more power and more energy than it should have? And maybe you could let us know what you come up with, if it's not too personal, of course. But anyhow, I'm going to end that here and let the session play, and let me know what you think about this once you listen to it. All right, everybody, thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next time. All right, so this is the follow-up session for Paul Faircloth, and seeing what kind of information we can ascertain running the Paravox app through one of my Bluetooth radios that I'm using as a portal. And let's see what comes through and if we can find out what's going on around Paul. So first off, I'd like to ask, is my spirit team with me? And who else is with me in spirit that could help us figure out what's going on with Paul? It appears that someone really has it in for Paul and sent some really nasty energies his way. Spirit, can you confirm if this is true or not? I heard the phrase, he preys on. Did someone send some kind of parasitic entity to harass Paul?
Is the person who sent this entity, is their name Michael? The name Michael keeps coming up for several people now. Is there someone named Michael who did this? I definitely heard the words an old jinx. That backs up some information someone else got in a session about someone sending a curse or a jinx toward Paul Faircloth. There's a lot of people out there that practice hoodoo and Santeria, and they will send curses for no apparent reason or any reason. So it's really nasty stuff. Is this what's happened? Someone is using hoodoo or Santeria on Paul? I definitely heard some affirmative answers there, and also the name Fred. The name Fred or Freddy keeps popping up in Paul's sessions. Does someone named Fred have anything to do with this as well? Now, what about this individual named Michael? Can you tell us if he is the main person who is responsible for this curse that's been sent out? What can you tell us about Michael's spirit? Does this person, there's no nice way to put it, but does this person want Paul Faircloth dead? There are several of us who are working to help Paul get rid of this negative energy. Will we be successful? Can we get rid of this parasitic entity that has been sent to Paul Faircloth? I definitely heard Barlow's name in there again. Is Barlow really fighting on behalf of Paul to get rid of this energy, this entity? So again, will we be successful in getting rid of this nasty energy around Paul? Spirit, will we be successful in getting rid of this entity? Will this entity win in the end? So in the end, will we be able to dislodge this thing from Paul's life? Could you say yeah? I hear the word free coming through a couple times in this session. Does that mean we will free Paul from whatever this energy is around him? And could you just give me a simple yes or no on that, Spirit, please? Could you give me a yes or no? Could you give me a simple yes or no on that question, please? All right, thank you, Spirit. So I'm going to leave it at that. The conclusion sounds positive, but I do get the feeling there will be a little bit of a fight of it or a tug of war for a little bit with this thing, but eventually and inevitably it will be dealt with and dislodged from Paul's life. Would I be correct in saying that, Spirit? And if you could give me a simple yes or no. Simple yes or no, once again, that would be greatly appreciated. I heard the phrase, he is evil. Is this talking about the individual who sent this entity? Because I get the feeling, if I may ask one more question, I get the feeling doing this session that this Michael, whoever this is just someone who doesn't even know Paul, but rather watched some of his videos, decide he didn't like him, decided he had something against him, and just did this curse, sent this energy, because that's what a lot of these people that do Santeria and Hoodoo, it's how they operate. They have no rhyme or reason. I think the dark entities take over their thought process and influence them in very negative and evil ways, and I feel that this is what's happened in the case of Paul Faircloth. No rhyme or reason, just someone who saw a video and decided he didn't like Paul. Spirit, could you confirm that? So that sounded like a yes. That sounded like some affirmative responses from what I could hear. So again, I'm going to leave it at that, but I keep coming up with more questions that come into my mind as I go on here. I also wanted to ask my spirit team and the good spirits around me if they could also help this situation. I've been clearing Paul, every day, and I'm going to continue to do so until this is the battle is won. But could my spirit team and also other good spirits talking through this session help Paul in getting rid of this entity? Could you help him, please? So again, that sounded rather affirmative from what I could hear through the radio portal here. So for real this time, I'm going to leave it at that. And I thank everybody for listening. I thank Spirit for coming through. And I think in the end, this will be something that can be dealt with and sent back from whence it came. So thanks for listening. Thanks for giving a listen, Paul, and I hope this is helpful. Take care, brother.